This industry has taught me so much. It's given me a confidence like I've never had. And it's given me a purpose. It's given me, it's just made my soul sing.
Actor, elder, storyteller and matriarch, Auntie Roxanne McDonald shares her journey and reveals her truth.
Passion for acting started at a really young age. But I just remember those little things, little flashes, still come to me. Yeah, it's funny how your life sort of changes. School wasn't the best time.
Do you feel a little isolated?
Yeah. It wasn't an easy road. It's very hard. You have to push through. But I tell you, it's...
Auntie Roxy, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me along, Dave.
Absolutely, you're VIP.
Hey.
You're on that first list.
Thank you. Am I the first one? No, am I?
Oh, look, you're on that first special list.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'll take
You
that.
can pay me that $20 later.
Yeah.
Now, let's get started. Let's, full name, mob, and sort of what you do.
Okay. My name's Roxanne McDonald. My mob are Wangan, Central Queensland, Claremont, Durrumble, Rockhampton on my grandfather's side, and my dad's side is Mandindangi, Roma, and we've also got connections to Stradbroke Island, just off Brisbane there, Moreton Bay.
Lovely.
And I'm an actor.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Now, let's start with Roma. Growing up, those sort of early 10 to 15 years, you've been in the acting industry a long time, so let's sort of talk about when you first discovered that passion for acting.
Passion for acting started at a really young age. I remember the Arts Council came to our school. I was going to a school called Whites Hill, just down the road from where we lived, and they brought along a production called Peter and the Wolf. And I saw it, and I actually stayed back after all the class went in, and I was talking to the actors and just asking all these questions. And I don't know, I think at an early age it just sparked something in me. I was just in awe of it, and I just thought, wow, I probably didn't know then that this is what I wanted to do for a career or for the most time of my life. But at that time, I loved it. Yeah.
And tell me about your childhood. I know that you grew up sort of in Roma, and then there was a transition, moved to Brisbane. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I remember a lot out there. We only spent about the first 7 years of my life there. I remember we lived on the outskirts of town, a place called Chinatown. And I heard just the other day, my brother said, we lived in a sawmill there too. I said, what? He said, yeah, we lived in the sawmill. And I just remember, kangaroos hopping through the camp, and the big, the big drums of fire going, and just a lot of people, coming there and talking and yarning, and just us kids running off, around the bush, going down the creek. Spent so much time down the creek. And there were a lot of families that when we did move to Brisbane, some of them sort of moved to Brisbane as well. So there was that Roma connection with some of the families.
So fond memories
Yeah.
of Roma.
Yeah, fond memories. I remember my mum and dad, or dad used to do work out in the bush, ring barking, and mum used to work in the School of Arts doing the cleaning and some cooking, I think she did there. I remember us as kids running there on must have been a Saturday morning, going to get some money for the pictures.
How much were they back then?
The other one's about 20 cents or something, 10 cents, 20 cents. Yeah.
That's one piece of popcorn nowadays.
That's it, yeah, just about. But I just remember those little things, little flashes, you know, still come to me. Just fond memories, you know. Just a lot of, you know, wildlife around, you know, more than I ever saw here in the city.
Yeah.
But there was, you know, porcupines and kangaroos and emus and, you know, we'd go out in the bush and my brother used to look, you know, we'd get the witchetty grubs with Granny and cook them up. So all those things, you know, just little snapshots would come up in my mind and, yeah.
And now we moved to Brisbane. What happened there? How was that experience in comparison?
We came out for, I think it might have been a family member's funeral. And I remember staying at my grandmother's over at Mount Gravatt there and I remember bits of that. And then the next minute, we didn't go back out. Mum said to Dad, I think we'll stay here. I think we'll stay here because the kids might have more opportunity here. So, and we only had one big suitcase. So we were only coming out for like the couple of days, you know, for the funeral and you know, just to stay and see some family and then head back out home.
Yeah.
And then I heard some stories like, oh, you know, we couldn't afford to get back, so, you know, we had to stay. But, yeah, it's funny how your life sort of changes. I had no say in the matter. We had to stay. So then we're in the same house that we got through Housing Commission and still in it.
Yeah.
Or still have the house. 57 odd years later. We didn't, I don't think I experienced much in what I thought was racism out there. Mum and Dad had a lot of friends and, you know, mob and, you know, any other mob. But since coming here to Brisbane, school wasn't the best time. There were a lot of kids there. We were probably only the very bare minority. Yeah. Because there was only a couple of Aboriginal families. You could probably count them on your hands.
Yeah.
Copped a lot of it in the mornings and all through the day. And it just became normal in a way. You know, you just got called names every day. Kids didn't want to sit with you or didn't want to, you know, be around you, play with you. I mean, I had some friends. I did have friends who sort of stuck up for me and those sorts of things. But a lot of the time, not a good time.
Do you feel a little isolated?
Yeah.
So you're a young girl. You're in Brisbane. Then you discover this acting thing, this performing thing. What changed within you after that day when you found that?
I didn't start till much later in life. Around about 25, around the age of 25, we were told about a film course that was happening. So I did this film course and we finished and everything. It was deadly. And then I got another job at the university then after this 10-year one that I had. So I got to work out there and that sort of opened my eyes a bit more to what was happening, you know, for us, Aboriginal people. You become involved in a lot of things in the community and, you know, so you go off to march. We go off to marches and, you know, things like that. And when the Opal Centre was running, there was always, you know, things happening there, you know, in the political sphere.
So you were forming an identity through those years.
Yeah. And then when I was at the university, this flyer came across the desk because I was, you know, coordinator. I was working with the coordinator there. The flyer came across the desk and it was for a production at the Queensland Museum called You Came to My Country and You Didn't Turn Black. And it was the poetry of Aunty Udjuru Nunaku, Aunty Kath Walker and Aunty Maureen Watson. So two different styles of writing. And I said to myself, I'm going to audition for that.
Amazing.
So I had to find a poem, because it was all poetry. The whole play was Arnie Ujaru Nunaku's poetry and Arnie Maureen's Watson's poetry. So I went along and I auditioned, and I got a call back. So I got called back, did a few other exercises with Sue and, you know, some of the other cast that also got called back.
Yeah.
And then I got it.
Wow. You're on stage. It's opening night, the first time, speaking role. You've done all the prep. The play is complete and the cast come out and take a bow. Take me back there. How did that feel?
Like something I've never felt before. That just, I don't know, it was a feeling of accomplishment. It was a feeling of, because we were speaking these words of these two, you know, like powerhouse women in the community who were, you know, in their time were and still are remembered for the work that they did in the literary world, in the political space, as women. And I felt so honoured to have been speaking their words out into the universe and out into the space, that I thought, you know what, I think this is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to use whatever is in me to be a voice, or I think one of my lovely young actors calls it a vessel, to speak these words out and to tell these stories. And I think I've always been a storyteller, but never ever had the confidence, never had the opportunities when I was younger. Probably didn't think that it was at all possible. And tell you what, over my career, I was absolutely, you know, so afraid, and so, you know, like when people see me on stage, they go, oh, you know, how do you do it? You know, you get up there and you say all these lines, but I tell you what, inside it's like you're having a fight with yourself too, because you go through so much as a person when you're an actor too, because it doesn't come easy. It doesn't happen like you can just walk out there and feel like, you know, I can just be, you know, the you know, this confident, full of, you know, whatever charisma, whatever you need to tell this story. There was a lot going on for me in a lot of years within the industry, because I'd always doubt myself too, and I think, oh no, I can't do it. And you'd have just all these inner, you know, fights with yourself, and then as I gradually got, you know, more and more work, and I, you know, started to feel like, hey, hang on, you know, this is okay. I'm where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to do, and this is, and I sort of overcame a bit of it, in a way, but it was hard. I mean, and like I remember lots of things you miss out on so much too, you know, because you're working. If you're constantly working and you get the work, which I, you know, as actors is just, you know, you don't get that opportunity, and to have constant work, like there were years and years that I had constant work, but then that meant you missed out on a lot of things too. You missed family, you know, things. You missed things that, you know, you know, weddings and sometimes a funeral, or, you know, things like that. You just missed a lot of that stuff. Yeah. It's like you sort of, in a way, you sacrificed a lot of things. And so it wasn't an easy road. It's very hard. And, you know, people go, oh, you know, you did great, you did well. But I tell you, it's hard work.
You're being an artist, but it takes a toll.
Yeah, it does.
Sacrifice,
Yeah.
emotionally, relationships.
Yes.
And you've basically dedicated your life to the arts.
Yes, pretty much.
You've got this show that you've committed to. You've signed the contract. Things at home have happened.
Mm.
How did you navigate that?
I know you have to push through. You have to, sometimes it's hard. And I mean, I've lost family when I've been away or when I've been on stage, and you just have to find the strength to get up and get on and do it. But I sort of say to myself, it's out of my hands. A lot of the time, it's out of your hands, and you have to have that mindset of, there's nothing I can do right now. I'll do all that after it. So I'll go and I'll prepare, because you have to mentally be prepared before you go on stage or whatever you're doing. You have to really try and put that to the side and then fall in a heap after it. So that's what you have to do. It's a show could go for an hour and a half, a show could go for an hour, but then you have to just get on and do it.
So you've had a character, the show's over, you have to let go of that character, then fall into a heap, deal with life. But what if that character is so complex and is hard to let go? You come back home, a few weeks of normality. How did Roxanne cope there? What things did you use to help you get through when the character's still holding you?
Yeah.
But life needs you.
Well, family helps. Friends. Sometimes you just have to, talk it out, talk things out. You talk things out with family. You go off and you do things that help you to sort of shed this character. I've had characters where they have been, and I think that's why I got a lot of these grey hairs, because it's like you're living in that, you embody that character, and you come across, well, hopefully you come across in your play or film that is so believable that it's like you die a few deaths yourself, because you give so much of yourself, and it does take a toll, and it takes away. Sometimes it takes away a bit of you too, but I think you have to have a, I don't know. You got to have some. What are those Americans call it? You got to have some chops. Like mentally, you have to be strong, and I think that's what's helped me, because I have to talk myself around a lot of the time, and to call on, family, and even even to my ancestors and my family that have passed over. I talk, and I say, I've got to go out here now, and this is going on, but I'm going to go out here now, and I'm going to have you with me, So it's all that self-belief that, we have our, family behind us, and they've got our backs, and our family and our friends and whoever we're working with at that particular time, we give each other strength too. Your fellow actors, your directors, whoever you're working with, we all have to band together to make this work. But I mean, I've had the best time though, Dave. I've done all different, types of shows, and a lot of Aboriginal stories and, comedy and, drama and, musicals. And so...
What's one of the, I'm sure you've got many, what's one of the highlights, maybe top 2 or 3? Is there one that stands out, a highlight, a show, a moment, a tour?
Hey.
You're like, let me get a pen, I'll write a list.
Gee, they all have a special place in my heart, and they all are stories that I've grabbed a hold of and I ran with them, and I've given my all as much as I can to each of these roles, and it's so hard to pin down any particular one, but I'll use the words of my mum, who's sadly she's not with us anymore, but she said to me, I said, Mum, I used to say to her, you've seen nearly all of my shows. I said to her, which one do you like the best, or which one did you think was the best? And she said, you came to my country and you didn't turn black. Wow. Out of all the productions, and I mean, my mum was my staunch supporter there. She would come to every show I did, and probably in the last, because we lost her in 2012, and she was sick for the year leading up to her passing. So to 2011, she saw every show I did. So I mean, you came to my country and you didn't turn black was in 1990. So 21 years I had my mum seeing all my shows.
Wow.
Till that time. And that's the one she said. So I have to say that one too. Because it was my first. And it was so powerful. And when I honour the 2 amazing poets, And Sue Ryder gave me my first opportunity. If it wasn't for her seeing whatever she saw in me back then, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about this. I wouldn't be talking to you, because I probably would have had a completely different life.
There's something you could say to those women? Is there something you'd say?
I would just say that I am so grateful and I'm so honoured to have met you all, and that I got to speak your words, I got to be directed and supported and led by you, that has made me the woman that I am today. Because you do your battle with a lot of things in your life, or you have. And I think this industry has taught me so much. It's given me a confidence like I've never had. And it's given me a purpose. It's just made my soul sing, because it's what I was meant to do. Because I think some things in your life that happen in your life are healed. You find a healing. And you find something at the end, or I haven't gone to the end yet, but of how much you've done and how far you've come. Yeah, in the arts industry, and for all the audiences that have ever sat in a seat and seen what I've done. But it's given me a life that I know I needed, and I know that I've had now, and that I'll continue as long as I can step in front of a camera or step on a stage or, you know, do a voiceover in a studio. That, you know, that this, of what I've learnt throughout my time and my career, and that's not without, you know, all of the loving guidance, the people I've met along the way. They've all given me something, and for that I'm truly grateful, and I'm truly honoured, and I'm truly blessed, I think, because there's not many people that can say, you know, I love to go and do what I do, and I love what I do, and I get to turn up to a show and I get to play, and I get paid for it. But I've learnt a lot about myself, and I love meeting people, and I love working with people, because there's nothing like people in this industry that have got such an energy and such a you know, optimistic outlook on what we do. And I mean, I know there's things going on in the world, and there's, you know, there's lots of unrest and horrible stuff. But you know, if we can do what we do and hopefully take someone out of their day or their, you know, a night, and just, you know, for whatever purpose they come, to be entertained, to be inspired, to learn something, to be challenged in however they want to turn up and, you know, see a production that feel like I've done my job, or whoever I'm working with have helped in that way, or have done our part. Yeah. And I've never ever really I've never wanted, you know, to be famous or, you know, be anything. I'm just an actor, and I'm a working actor, and I just love working with everyone, because I'm like that. I'm sort of like a bit of a, you know.
You're so much more.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that everyone that's met you feels inspired by you. When we first met, I remember just thinking, wow, like, you know, and I'm speaking on behalf of all the artists in Queensland, like, you are an inspiration, you know. So the gift that was given to you, thank you for passing that on.
Oh,
Look, we're actors here. We feel too much.
We do feel too much. We take on too much sometimes, I think. And it, you know, you feel like, oh, you're up there, you're doing the strong roles and the tough roles, and you know. But I draw strength on my old people, and my, you know, my aunties and my mum and my grandmothers, and you know what they had to go through and what they had to, you know, live through. Yeah. And I do that too for them.
So in 2025 now, you're working with young actors, social media, pressure. Is there anything you're noticing about the landscape of the arts and how it's changed?
I think they are more, I wouldn't say, well, maybe they switched on a bit more, but I mean, they've got access to so much now.
Yeah.
And they are becoming really, really savvy. Yes. And really, you know, they can speak and they're very forthright. So that's what I'm probably noticing a lot more. But they say to me, oh, Artie, you know, we love your presence because you have a calming presence. And but I think that speaks to who you are as a person too. because I was never I was never a person who got up and, was very loud and spoke like that. I was more, I'd sit back and I would watch, and then I would speak. Like when I used to go to have some talks with some of the students, and I'd tell them, and I wouldn't paint a like a airy fairy, account of it. Yeah, acting's great, and it's a great industry to get into, and if you have that passion, that's what you truly want to do. I always say to them, you're going to have to be prepared to be working extremely long hours. You're going to have to be punctual. You got to be there when they say you have to be there. Sometimes I think they don't have a real understanding or how much it does, require, because you're like I said, you're going to have to miss things. You're going to miss the, maybe want to go out and have a, party out somewhere or whatever. You've got to really discipline yourself, because they're not going to put up with it. Directors or whoever you're working with are not going to put up with you coming late, coming, like not ready, not prepared.
Yes.
You have to be in the game, because they're not going to look at you again.
Yes.
They won't, and the industry is so small, word can get around too.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. And they'll go, oh, no, I don't want to work with that one.
Yeah.
They this. So I think the more that you present yourself as you're professional, you have to be, on. And because they won't put up with it.
You have to be careful what you post.
That's it. Be careful what you post.
They're watching. That's
it. Everyone's watching. You've got eyes everywhere.
I've sat with producers, loved an actor, and they saw that their political voice, it's not their beliefs, it's more the production can't risk that political voice interfering with the production. Yeah. And an amazing actor has been put to the side, and then maybe that actor got that no, and they felt down and I'm not good enough, and they've gone in a pit, because this industry can beat you down.
Yes.
And, you've been fortunate enough to have some continual work, but a lot of actors, they're struggling to get work, and they get a bad audition and they think that I'm not a great artist. Sometimes the production, it's just about a look.
That's it.
And they say, oh, we'll just get an acting coach to work with them. This is coming from a film and television, or that person's got 350,000 followers. She's not that great, but we'll have an acting coach with her. But she has 375,000 followers. These are the conversations that producers are having now.
Yeah.
So you're an amazing artist and you've put a great tape down. It's just not you. It's business.
That's it.
It's terrible. It's heartbreaking. I sat there and went,
it is.
Whoa.
That has to come down to that. Like, you might go for umpteen dozen auditions for all sorts of things, and I say to myself, well, I'm not what they want. I'm not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And, then, and it's up to you. It's up to you to find other, go off, do some more, some more classes, or go and, research a bit more, or it's up to you too.
Yep.
Ultimately.
Take a risk.
Take a risk. That's it.
Now, 2025, the arts, storytelling, so much discipline, sacrifice, passion. When you have downtime, what does Roxanne like to do when there's no plays, you've got X amount of time off?
Binge. TV. No, I'm terrible. I shouldn't say that. No, Well, I hopefully like to get around and, see family and go to the beach and, do some walking. And I should really do more reading, but I don't know. I just,
You're absorbing scripts for a living.
I know. I don't want to read another line, do I?
Reading.
Yes. I just like the thought of, hey, whatever's meant to come this way will make its way. And if I do try anything else, well, it could be just a snap decision. I don't know. I just leave it open. I can't predict what I will be doing in the next 5 years or,
Riding on a
I want to do a
beach.
bit of travel.
Yeah.
Do some travel and write, and, anything that might come out of that. Like, my real idea of what I really want to do is be in a full-on comedy, like a film or a series, because I think comedy is just the best. And I just love it. I just love making people laugh. And if I was given the opportunity in the next couple of years, I would jump at it like you wouldn't believe. Dave?
Amazing.
Maybe I'll write some comedy. Okay. Maybe I'll write something for myself.
With Will Ferrell.
Yes. Will Ferrell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, amazing. Arnie, just thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dave.
As an artist, your vulnerability.
Yes. Yeah.
For inspiring us. And we'll be yarning. We'll stop recording here, but we'll keep yarning and keep working together. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.